And we're live. Welcome everybody to the, I don't know, what do we want to call this? Do we want to call, we can call it the hook.
Sure.
There we go. I just put the
Sure.
banner up there. Put the
Okay,
banners
sure.
back up there. We still have the
Sure.
hook.
Sure.
Um,
Is it
I mean,
Friday? No. Maybe shouldn't this be a lounge?
No, because I don't feel like drinking.
Well, I haven't had a drink. I still haven't had a drink yet. So it's been 6 weeks for me. But
Yeah.
we certainly made drinking a part of the hook too, right? Because isn't this going to be a lounge?
Yeah. I don't know. We're just gonna go with it being the hook. This
All right,
is the
fine.
hook.
All right, fine.
I mean, look, that's a pretty good kind of explainer for where things stand with us here, right? As we all try to build the plane in the air. The Lakers had a deadline. The NBA had its NBA trade deadline. A lot of stuff happened. Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook is no longer a Los Angeles Laker. Patrick Beverley
Correct.
is in Orlando, and if he gets bought out, apparently Minnesota isn't interested in him, so that's kind of an upset. There's a whole bunch that we have to discuss here. I guess that what we have to start with is the Russell Westbrook trade, right?
The
deal
theoretical,
getting done.
the theoretical Russell Westbrook trade for my purposes.
And
by the way,
none of this has been announced formally, except for as a part of this Russell Westbrook trade. Actually, Mike Conley has been announced by the Minnesota Timberwolves, so that would indicate that things are certainly moving closer to being officially announced.
I will talk about that portion then.
Yeah.
By the way, the Twitter timeline said you did me dirty with the screenshot promoting our appearance here, promoting the show, and they're also very upset.
I don't pick those,
and they're also very upset with you that this is not available live. I'm just relaying information because I'm still.
It is live.
Oh,
we are live on Twitter.
Okay,
so
cool.
I think
they mean live, like they can pop in with us. But
I mean,
Twitter. It's Twitter, YouTube. Where else? Right?
Yeah, it's everywhere that you follow Silver Screen and Roll, that you follow me, all of that stuff.
All right. So, let's talk about the Mike Conley portion, the most important portion of this potential deal for Lakers fans.
Yeah. So as James is asking, the trades are not official yet. There are physicals that have to be done. There have to be trade calls made, and as you would imagine, right now there's a big ass line.
Yeah, the queue they call it. Yeah,
there's a big ass line in the phones of the league offices as everybody tries to get their trades in. Usually you'll see kind of a trickle for the last 10, 15 minutes of trades that were maybe agreed on before 2 o'clock my time, noon Pacific.
Nobody uses Central Time. Stop it.
I know. I that was the one time I messed up. That's my apologies. Yeah. But noon Pacific, 3 Eastern time is when trades usually have to be agreed upon. Sometimes as everybody is standing in that queue or waiting in that queue to make the call into the league office, you will get, a trickle of a couple more deals here. For the most part, though, a lot of teams are leaking that they are done. The Lakers being one of them, indicating to Dan Wojcicki of the LA Times that they are done. So, yeah, this is, as it stands right now, here's the Lakers, as Aaron would say, theoretical roster. LeBron James, Anthony Davis.
Actually, let's not say theoretical because famously, Zach Lowe, who has, in my opinion, the best national basketball podcast.
Coverage.
And maybe coverage if you want, is kind of out of the breaking news business. But I really enjoy, that's first on my list for national listens is his. And he continues to call the Brooklyn Nets the greatest theoretical team in NBA history. So let's call it something else than the Lakers theoretical roster. That has bad vibes now.
That's why we're calling this the hook, because I want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. I want to talk about the Toronto Raptors. I want to talk about the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons, these coward-ass teams that didn't do the stuff that they needed to do to fully ingratiate themselves into whatever next step is ready for them organizationally. But yeah, so like I said, LeBron, AD, D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, Mo Bamba, Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, Wenyan Gabriel, Max Christie, Troy Brown Jr., and Devon Reed are your 14 rostered
That sounded
Lakers.
like 82 guys.
There's a lot of syllables and names and stuff.
Okay.
So,
all right, fair enough.
like, I think that's what's kind of going on there. But yeah, the Lakers do have 14 players right now. When all of these trades get agreed upon formally, they will have 14 players on their roster. One more spot for the buyout market. Buyout market's going to be kind of interesting this year because
Maybe.
of the amount of activity that we saw in this deadline as compared to years past. I think the biggest story, other than obviously Kevin Durant being traded to the Phoenix Suns, but the biggest kind of macro story in the NBA right now was the market resetting. Everybody kind of moved past, hey, this is what Rudy Gobert went for. This is what we're expecting. At one point, players like Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt were supposed to fetch a first rounder on their own. They and D'Angelo Russell go for a first rounder. So I think we're seeing the market kind of reset itself. And outside of that handful of coward teams that I talked about, I think for the most part, everybody did fairly well. I think for the most part, like I don't see a buyer that I look at and say, what the hell were you thinking? I of the buyers, I think everybody made pretty prudent moves.
Yeah, I mean, I said on Twitter, I don't know, maybe half an hour ago that the entire Pacific saw the Kings leading the division and just said, nah, like no, this ain't it. Because
Pacific Division is just insane.
all four of the other teams in the Pacific Division ended up theoretically so far. It looks like maybe being buyers, but as it relates to, so I think partially the market was reset, but I think the other factor in it is that may have, because you said there was this big flurry of deals, and there were a lot of deals, but I think the market resetting may have also stopped some deals because certain teams, Toronto, for example, had an idea of what their guys were worth. And when they saw what other teams were getting for first round picks, what kind of guys were going for one first round pick,
they became a buyer.
Yeah, they became a buyer, but they also couldn't find anybody to meet that price for their guys. So I think their intention was to be a seller, but once they saw what people were actually going for and what the offers were for the guys that they were willing to sell on, they didn't think it was worth it, and then kind of pivoted into being buyers. That also is the case seemingly with. How am I going to phrase this? There were guys that were rumored to be Lakers targets. And those teams, the incumbent teams with those players, had a price tag for those guys that they were putting out into the world that, oh, we'll just keep this guy if we don't get what we want. And nobody was willing to meet that price that they wanted. So they did end up keeping guys. I still think they were bluffing. One team in particular that I'm not going to mention, maybe you can figure it out. I still think they were bluffing and had no intention of keeping said player. But then once they saw what they could actually get in return, not what they hoped to get in return, they got painted into a corner.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a couple teams. The two teams that kind of come to mind, well, actually 3 teams now because of the Kevin Durant trade and because like the Brooklyn is, Brooklyn's kind of a mess. Like you look at their roster, it's a whole bunch of guys that I thought would make a lot of sense. Like this is where I give Danny Ainge credit for once he traded Rudy Gobert and once he traded Rudy Gobert and you knew that another move had to be made and they traded Donovan Mitchell. He maximized on that moment and carried out what needed to be done as the secondary moves there, Now, did he maybe hold on to a couple guys a little too long and see their prices drop? I think you could probably argue that.
Maybe.
But I think I'm not complaining that might be the case, as again it benefited the Lakers. But like here with the Nets, you trade Kyrie Irving to Dallas and you get back Dorian Finney-Smith and you get back Spencer Dinwiddie, and you say, we're still competing. And that's the one thing that, like, these teams, and I know it's a lot easier for me to say it than it is to be done, but these teams that trade superstars and convince themselves that they're still going to compete is the dumbest thing that can be done in the sport. Like, you just need to address reality. You know, what's your thing with reality, right? You have to live in reality on reality's terms.
Deal with reality on reality's terms. Yes.
Yeah, once you trade James Harden and Kyrie Irving in successive seasons, you're not competing still. You're not going to be able to keep Kevin Durant. And lo and behold, they try it. Now, the Kevin Durant trade, they do get their four unprotected picks from Phoenix. Those picks are going to be pretty garbage though, because Kevin Durant is going to be there.
Maybe.
And Devin Booker is still going to be good that far out in advance, I would imagine. But they get those picks. They get back some wings that I thought, okay, now just flip those guys for more picks and really try to fall down the standings as best you can. But that never came to fruition.
No, they're too good right now to fall down the standings enough for it to be meaningful. It's too late for all that.
I don't think it matters. Like, it's not even about, they don't even have their pick this year. Like, it doesn't matter if they fall or whatever. They
have a pick. It's a pick swap this year with Houston.
Yeah.
So this would be the 1 year for them to tank if they were going to, but they're too far. Their record is too good for it to make a meaningful difference for them to tank. The other issue, I mean, they were able to move Crowder and get, what was it, 5 seconds? I think it was.
5 seconds. That was the running bit. Everybody committed to the bit. 5 second rounders.
Yeah.
Price.
Did you see? There was something that made me smile and chuckle on Twitter. They did, like, somebody was typing, like, basically giving the transcript of a phone call between the Bucks and Brooklyn, and it's the Bucks saying, "We want Jay Crowder," and Brooklyn saying, "Okay, give us 5 seconds," and Milwaukee saying, "Okay, done," and Brooklyn saying, "No, wait, we meant give us 5 seconds to think about. Actually, never mind, we'll take it."
That's good. Yeah, I still don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think their roster makes a lot of sense, other than they have a bunch of, like, third, maybe, but like third, fourth, fifth, sixth guys on a decent team, and just they don't have the two guys that they need. But I don't really see. Okay, there's two schools of thought. One, like, they didn't have much choice. Two, they probably could have held on to the offseason and, like, see, like, when KD was done, he's done, right?
Yeah.
You can hold him hostage for this year, but fine. This offer probably would have been there in the offseason, but, like, maybe Brooklyn just said, forget it. The one part that is interesting about this for them is they do have all these picks, but these picks are not their own. So there is so they can rebuild.
Can't impact your own picks.
They can rebuild without tanking, right? Like, they can try to be as good as they can be, and it doesn't matter because the picks that they have are not their own. So they can rebuild through the draft without tanking is my point.
Yeah. The only reason I ask, because I know Lakers fans are listening to this and saying, like, why the Lakers just made a gigantic trade and you aren't talking about it. The reason I ask is because, look, I think given the direction that Brooklyn is heading in now, they probably would have been better off trading for Russ and for Kyrie, or for Russ and the 2 first rounders that the Lakers could have given. And you know, have that just done, you know. And so again, like, you're saying, like,
that is the answer to that. I mean, the only thing that makes sense for that is that in the couple days, if what the rumors of a Lakers offer are correct, and I'm not saying they are or they are not, Hennessy is delicious and still, even though I haven't had a drink. I mean, the only thing that makes sense is in the few days between then and yesterday that they thought they were going to be able to keep KD and we're going to try to keep it together. And then that changed over the, day or two.
Yeah.
And once KD said, get me out of here, I'm out of here, period. Yeah. Like, I'm not doing this. Then they had to shift the priorities on the fly.
But that's more what I'm talking about when I say, like, you have to live in reality on realities. Like, once you trade those two guys in consecutive seasons, KD's not sticking around. Like, There's no world that he's going to be like, oh, yeah, this sounds great. He's doing the Will Smith gift thing where he's just standing around. He's like, where the hell did everybody... What happened?
And now people have been posting that for Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
I mean,
except he doesn't care. Ben Simmons doesn't care. He likes it that way.
I don't know. He doesn't want to. I don't, you know what? I'm going to leave Ben alone. I think that was logical, but I don't think that it was known, or I don't think the Nets thought that they were going to have to do it immediately. I think the Nets thought they were going to get through the year and then revisit it and have some time to figure it out in the offseason and, kind of get a bidding war together. And I told you, I told you offline, we haven't had done a pod, but that there were teams around the league. Kyrie had basically no market. Well, part of the reason for that is because of Kyrie, right? Because of all that goes along with being people not wanting to be in the Kyrie business. But there was also the speculation around the league that this was going to cause KD to be available. Yeah. People didn't think it was going to be this deadline. People thought he was going to be available in the summer. And teams were hesitant to put forth a Kyrie offer because they thought that those assets, or some of those assets that you would use to acquire Kyrie, you would then need subsequently to try to make a run at KD. Yeah. So and that depressed Kyrie's market also.
Yeah. The whole reason I'm saying this is because as it was happening, as the Kyrie thing was unfolding, and I'm not even that upset about it. Like, I think I would rather have the guys that the Lakers got than Kyrie Irving. I'm probably way in the minority there, especially for the price that it wound up costing.
I wouldn't say that you're in the minority.
But I'm saying this from their perspective, that once you're trading Kyrie Irving, and likely logic as it played out, right? Common sense here played out. You're better off taking the picks of the team that you think is going to be bad in 5 to 7 years anyway.
But my point is they didn't think they were going to have to do it this quickly, and so the fact that there was this deadline a couple days later, that doesn't give you the opportunity to really field calls and offers from all of these different teams, because they got a lot for KD because they had to do it immediately. Could they have gotten more in the summer? Maybe. But there were not a whole lot of teams that were equipped to offer much for KD right now.
I'm not complaining. I just think it was a dumb approach that ignored how this was.
But what do you think they should have done differently? Is I guess my question.
Like I said, I think that you make the trade for a rebuilding type of trade here with Kyrie Irving, and you talk to KD and you say, hey, you probably aren't going to want to be here. Let's figure out where you want to be next. And then you make a trade for more of that rebuilding stuff right away. And you try to, and if you do get a couple wings back, as they were always going to, I actually like that they got Bridges and Johnson, right? Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
I actually like that they got those guys and not DeAndre Ayton. I don't really know if I really want to touch DeAndre Ayton moving forward.
Well, you're also, their best player currently is Nick Claxton, and so that doesn't make, you can't play the two of them together, so that doesn't make much sense.
So I think for what I would have done, the approach I would have taken is, hey, Kyrie wants out, we are going to trade him. KD, you are likely going to want to be traded either ASAP or in the offseason. Yes or no? Yes, cool. All right, let's move forward. And again, that's
you're saying they should have retroactively taken a different approach to Kyrie trade, is what you're saying. Yeah. I don't think they did this without my suspicion of what happened is they had conversations with KD about the Kyrie trade, and got back things that KD told them he would be good with, and
maybe
he wanted,
changed his mind.
and then he changed his mind. That is my supposition.
That's a fair one, and probably how it played out, given how KD has changed his mind everywhere else he has been.
Dorian Finney-Smith specifically, KD has been on record saying that he admires his game and would love to play with him and all of that kind of stuff. So I suspect this was done at least partially in consultation with KD, and then KD said, you know what, actually, nah, I'm cool.
All right, let's talk about the Lakers. As they did not obviously make the trade that would have sent Russ and those 2 picks to Brooklyn, they do instead send Russell Westbrook as of right now, to Utah, where he is inevitably going to be bought out, reportedly. They send a first-round pick to Utah, a protected first-round pick, according to reports, top 4 protected. They get back in a 3-team trade D'Angelo Russel. They get back Malik Beasley, and they get back Jared Vanderbilt. So as far as a return for Russ and a single pick, that's about as good as you could have hoped for, right? Like I send you probably like 37 fake trades a week, I would say.
You are not alone, brother.
But like Beasley and Vanderbilt were the Utah Jazz players that I always kind of had my eye on the most in a return for Russ. Beasley is a top 5-ish shooter in the NBA. Like he's a legitimately great shooter. You have some off the court issues there with in his past that, we will get to whenever the trade becomes official and all of that stuff. And then you also get Jared Vanderbilt, who really helps on the wing, really helps on the interior. He's a versatile kind of front court player. He's like Wenyen Gabriel. Like if Wenyen Gabriel was a Pokemon, Jared Vanderbilt would be like the next evolution up.
I don't know what that means. I don't understand the reference, but yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, I think they're comparable. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think if you want to say Jared Vanderbilt's a better version of Wenyen, that's fine. Yeah.
And then D'Angelo Russel, obviously.
Theoretically.
What's that?
Theoretically.
Having
nothing to do with any potential trades or Lakers trade. If you were just
like those guys as
players. If you were just comparing 2 players, I think they have some similarities, but in most respects, Jared's just better.
And then D'Angelo Russel, also a part of that return, coming from Minnesota. He is back in LA. And for those of us who have held on to our D'Angelo Russell Island real estate, business is booming. He is one of the top volume 3-point shooters in the NBA this year. Obviously has some significant defensive limitations. That has always been the case throughout his career. There's some concern over the course of his career about his focus in winning and all of that stuff. That is also fair. There was some immaturity, I think, stuff going on with him and Karl Anthony Towns getting to run an organization basically in Minnesota, and that has played out roughly how I would have predicted it. But I do think him, with LeBron, with AD, in a culture that is as focused on winning as it is, where he's like the third fiddle in a distant third fiddle here. That I think will help him. He's not the creator that Russell Westbrook was, with the ball. He's a pretty good passer, always has been a pretty good passer, but that's not like what he is. He's basically a shooting guard who has a handle, and I think that is normally the kind of offensive player I would want next to LeBron. But defensively, the limitations are significant. They're pretty staggering, honestly. He's pretty bad.
He's a mess. He's a mess defensively.
Yeah.
Again, having nothing to do with any kind of trade packages or anything like that. Just evaluating the player. He has gone from a mediocre 3-point shooter to a good 3-point shooter. He's a good 3-point shooter now. I disagree with your characterization. He's one of the best volume 3-point shooters. That's Malik Beasley. Just as a player, not having nothing to do with anything. Yes.
Well, like
Malik Beasley is.
I think Russell's pretty high up there.
No. Yeah. His volume is not as high as guys like Malik Beasley, who leads the NBA in 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. But he is now even more than Steph and more than Clay. He is
zero conscious whatsoever.
Beasley.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but he's also good at it.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm not complaining. When you're that good of a shooter, like, that's how you want to think.
D'Lo doesn't have much of a conscience either.
Yeah.
But he has gone from like a very mediocre, slightly below mediocre, but very willing 3-point shooter to this season, I think he's like 39.1% or so, which makes him really good.
Yeah.
And I agree with your assessment about like potential fit kind of stuff. You're also right that he's just, I mean, like, he's plainly awful. And he's just no, he's just plainly he's plainly awful. He's just awful. But he certainly your characterization of him as like a shooting guard and a point guard, like with a point guard handle, kind of. I mean, he does have some natural passing instincts. His game is more like a 6-man, like traditional 6-man game, where he's kind of just a gunner.
Gets to start.
He's kind of just a gunner, but he's a willing and good passer, but he's kind of a gunner. He's kind of a gunner, right? Like a good comparison, Jordan Clarkson this year, right? Jordan Clarkson is a gunner, but this year particularly, he's having the best year of his career because he has made huge strides as a passer. D'Lo has always had that ability and vision. He's a good passer. He just tended towards gunning, and it matters less if you tend towards gunning if you're a 39% 3-point shooter as opposed to a 34% free throw shooter. 3-point shooter rather. I just think, like, should these rumors for all of the Lakers stuff be accurate? I will not speak about any of them specifically, but should the rumors be accurate, I think Rob has done a fantastic job, not only in the guys acquired, theoretically, but the asset management here is like, it's not going to get much better than this. And it's fair to talk about what got you in this scenario to begin with. Fine.
We will.
But reality on reality's terms, ain't nothing you can do about that now. So you have to judge it on what you can do in the moment. And in the moment, I think he and whoever else was involved in these decisions did a damn good job.
Aaron's just
why are you laughing?
Look at you go. Look at you go.
Me? I have nothing to do with it. What do you mean? I had nothing to do with this.
I'm just saying. Like, do you have a mirror off camera? Like, are you just like, man,
I do not. And if you look behind me, so this was supposed to be my office, and it turned into my guest bedroom, which would never be used. And then, like, people just end up moving here and living with me for 6 to 9 months at a time.
Nice.
My sister, for example, twice. So behind me, there's a closet with a mirror on it. And I just put the curtains, like, with thumbtacks back up, because then you could see behind me in the mirror. So I no longer have the opportunity to look behind me and look at myself. I am vain, but I'm not that vain.
So the other part of this that I want to discuss is like, as it pertains to D'Angelo Russel and you know what the fit looks like and stuff. And actually the same can be said about Beasley. Both of those guys are a lot closer to how I would prefer to make life easier on LeBron than the path that the Lakers have taken to this point, where before the focus was just on creativity, that LeBron would give the ball to whichever point guard. First it was Schroeder, then it was Russell Westbrook. He would just kind of give the ball to those guys and they would do whatever they want, and then LeBron would take his turn. But I like this approach significantly more because, you can still do that. But I think, like, I would love to see a D'Angelo Russell, LeBron James pick and roll. You can't go under that, and you can't switch it because LeBron's going to take advantage of that. D'Angelo Russell is actually a really good pocket passer and stuff like that in the pick and roll. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then with Beasley can run around 5 or 6 screens while LeBron either stands off in one of the corners or stands off on one of the wings, or has the ball in his hands and watches Beasley run around all over the court and put the defense in all kinds of knots while he runs off of screens. And that will allow the game to be easier for LeBron. And then when it's his turn to kind of attack or whatever, both of those guys, defenses are going to be a lot more reluctant to leave than they have been with Schroeder, than they have been with Russ, than they were with Rondo, than they were with any number of the guys that the Lakers have had to this point. So just in terms of like what the basketball is actually going to look like, and the way that I envision making life easier on LeBron. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong, though the results of the last couple of years would indicate there may be a wrong approach to it. But, like, this to me aligns a lot more closely with how I envision making life easier on LeBron. So like Aaron, you don't have to talk about the specific guys or whatever, but the theory of making life easier on LeBron, I think makes a lot more sense with this potential approach.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, probably, I guess is better than maybe, but it's going to require some differences, right? Like if the roster is overhauled this much, especially at lead ball handler, like especially somebody that's going to play point guard, that doesn't happen seamlessly. That doesn't happen quickly generally either. The other issue is if all these rumored things come to fruition, the Lakers are going to have to play differently. That like second in pace stuff is gone. And the Lakers got a lot of their offense and basically all of their easy offense through that. And that's gone. But I do think that the Lakers will be much more difficult to guard in the half court. And I think this should exercise a bunch of those clutch time demons. But as I said, like it's going to take some time to get the new guys. You know, there's at least one new starter probably, and maybe two.
I think at least two,
maybe two. And that's going to take some time. The other part of this is, and this is not about the Lakers specifically, this is an NBA thing. Like you're going to lose all the guys that you send out, and their replacements are not going to be available. So you're going to see some strange results today, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day around the league.
Yeah.
As you
I think they have 9 guys or 8 guys available tonight.
Well, you have to dress 8 minimum. But if you like, I'm not going to talk about the guys going out, but the only guys I know are going to be available tonight, theoretically,
LeBron, AD, Rui, Reeves, Walker, Schroeder, Wenyen, Max, and Troy. So 1, 2,
that's 9,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Against
9.
Milwaukee.
That's
so.
9.
And they didn't send out any pieces.
No, they sent out 5 seconds theoretically. So like, and you know, you can come back and listen to this later because I won't say any more than this. But I'm not certain everybody's going to be available from the group you just mentioned, and you can come back and listen to this later and see if maybe.
I mean, it makes some sense. Like there's a lot of overlap in skill sets here. Like Schroeder makes sense if he's running your second unit, but I think he kind of prefers to start at this stage of his career.
But my point is, like,
Wenyen, like we talked about the overlap with Wenyen and Jared Vanderbilt.
No. I can't say any more than that.
You know, but I'm saying like I could
those 9 you just mentioned. I'm not sure all of them are going to be available tonight. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't think they're all going to be available tonight. But this is like true. You know what? I need to stop there. My point is around the league, right?
Can I offer on this front? Can I offer up a hoop idea?
Yeah.
The NBA needs no games on deadline day. Like on trade deadline day.
No. They love this.
No, I know. I understand why they prefer this and all of that stuff. Yeah. But like I'm are going to have situations.
Everybody playing on deadline day.
Well, yeah. The reason you can't is because you're going to have teams with like 7 guys.
Can I let me let you in on a little secret?
No, I know. The
NBA is not a basketball product. It is a TV show and entertainment product.
I understand, but I'm saying like
views and what we're doing now and interaction, and what better than that than having weird games going that people are like, oh wait, we got so and so or lost so and so. Wait, who's available? They love that.
Okay, but also like if you're not a basketball company and you're a basketball league, that's why the NFL is lapping you. Like NFL focuses on the football.
No, that's not why.
And it's part of it.
No, it is because Americans inherently enjoy the violence of the NFL
Oh, sure.
or
Yeah.
football, not the NFL, football.
Oh
in
my
general.
God, I got laid off before I could give you my take on the big bloated stat lines and stuff. We don't have time for it today. We'll have to talk about it later.
But my point is that I'm trying to get to, and doing so very quickly, obviously. My point is in saying they're like the guys that are outgoing, and you don't have the guys that are incoming available yet. And my point in saying I'm not sure that everybody that you just mentioned is going to be available tonight. Of course, having nothing to do with trades, of course.
Yeah, totally.
In addition to that, the time that it takes to get guys acclimated, not specific to the Lakers, just any time, when you bring guys in, especially guys that are going to play as much as it seems like they'll play and maybe start, that takes some time too. And for as much as it seems like the Lakers' theoretical roster is significantly better and just talent-wise and significantly better, more balanced, they're running out of runway here. So like the few games it takes based on who's available and who's not. Do we have the new guys in yet? And then are those guys up to speed? And how do we get them like connected with what we're doing? It's still like an uphill climb for the Lakers because there just is not a lot of time left. Like the season is 2/3 over.
Well, that's actually a perfect segue that we have to come back to later about opportunity cost as we get it, as we figure it out or whatever. But there is another trade that the Lakers pulled off here, reportedly sending Patrick Beverley and a second rounder that they got back from. Well, I guess the second trade that they made was Thomas Bryant for Devon Reed and 3 second rounders, according to reports. They then turned around and sent Patrick Beverley and one of those second rounders from Denver to Orlando to get in Mo Bamba and add to their Bamba mentality this season. And sorry, I can't help myself. But
I'm surprised I'm surprised you didn't say you only know him from the Sheck West song, but continue. I'm surprised you didn't make that joke.
No, I try to keep you on your toes, and This is a Lakers podcast, so Bamba mentality was right there. It was the hanging curveball.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Thomas Bryant reported trade going to Denver, and some of what apparently went into it. Reportedly, and this is according to multiple reports, Bryant actually requested a trade because of the role that he was playing since AD got back. You and I had a discussion quickly on Twitter about how I think Ham's rotations played into some of that, and also some of why I think Bryant looked as bad as he has the last couple weeks. I want to be absolutely clear. They weren't going to be able to keep Thomas Bryant. They got back a guy in Devon Reed who's a really good shooter too. I don't know if he's going to play, but he's a really good shooter if he does. And they got 3 second rounders for him, one of which they used to go out and get Mo Bamba, who's like a better version of Thomas Bryant. So
no.
What?
No, they are completely dissimilar players. Like the only thing similar about those two guys is they're both black and tall.
No,
their games are not similar at all.
Mo Bamba likes to shoot 3. Like so remember when they acquired Thomas Bryant, and the thought that we had with him coming in was, oh, well, he can shoot. Like he was able to shoot while he was there in Washington, and he's tall, so maybe he can defend the rim. Turns out,
who thought maybe he can defend the rim?
I'm saying like the royal we. I'm saying that was some discussion out there about the guy. Aaron, I could go find receipts. I could pull all kinds of receipts from all kinds of very optimistic Lakers fans.
Okay, fine. But nobody who knows what they're talking about or is paying attention expected Thomas Bryant to have any impact protecting the rim.
I beg to differ is all I'm going to say. Having disagreed with it at the time and kind of biting my tongue. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So like Bamba
yes,
is kind of on the outs in Orlando because Bol has had the season that he has had, and now Jonathan Isaac stopped doing his own research on his knee and is available to play also. and Bamba. It was weird. This last offseason, they renounced their rights to Bamba and made it look like he was about to become a free agent, and then they kept him regardless, and wind up trading him now after what's been kind of an up and down season for him. But I think I have a fair description of his game. He also likes to shoot 3-pointers. He's a significantly better rim protector than Thomas Bryant. Like he's
He also has the longest wingspan in the league.
Yeah.
He
has more arms than anybody in the NBA.
Yeah, okay, you're 0 for 2 now. He also is a very good athlete. Something that
is that even true? I thought Bol Bol was longer.
No, I think Bamba has I believe he has the longest wingspan in the league.
Yeah.
And maybe the second longest in history, other than Wembanyama, who is not in the league yet. But neither here nor there. He has an incredibly long wingspan, and he's also a good athlete. He has never averaged fewer than 1 block in a season. They are very dissimilar players. They both play center and don't hate shooting. Bamba's a much better shooter than
significantly
Bryant.
Better. No, he's like better at everything than Thomas Bryant.
And they're not. But he's more of he is a defensive center that also happens to shoot threes. Thomas Bryant is an offensive center that is a categorical disaster defensively, and is an okay 3-point shooter for a center.
That's
okay.
Again, I'm saying that theoretically, when he was brought in, a lot of the analysis at the time, and again, I can go pull receipts. We had it on my former site that was some of what he brought to the table. Not going to name.
I don't know who said he.
But like
brought rim protection, but that whatever. It doesn't matter.
He's taller. Like that's it. Like he's I don't even think he's 7 feet tall though, right? Thomas Bryant. He's like 6'10". Yep. Bamba is a legit 7 foot tall. He's a good acquisition. Like this is when the Thomas Bryant trade happened. I said at the time it makes sense that they would probably go out and get a bigger backup center because that's something that they've really lacked this year. And lo and behold.
Yeah. So my disagreement with you when you were saying that was not that the Lakers could use that. It was your implication that like it was necessary to keep pace with like the league, and the league just doesn't in general play 7-footers at backup center anymore. Guys that, especially in games that matter, guys that play backup center in the NBA in games that matter are like 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", like, LeBron, Wenyen, those sized guys are the guys that play backup center. And so I didn't think it was, plus when backups are in, they're generally worse. The games speed up usually. And so there just isn't room for a bunch of those guys generally. Giannis plays a bunch of center as a backup, that kind of thing. So, I mean, Giannis is an obvious outlier. The strange thing about TB is like, and my disagreement with you saying the rotations mess this up for
some of
TB is that
I'm not blaming him only.
He's going to play less in Denver than he played with the Lakers, even
I didn't get it.
Even in games when AD was available. Right? His reportedly, I didn't see who sent out the report, but from what your paraphrasing of it or your reading of it was that he was frustrated with his time, with his minutes when AD came back. He's going to play more minutes with AD in the lineup as a Laker than he's going to play. Like, let's just say he plays every second that you cannot play him with Joker. You just cannot. Let's say he plays every second Joker's off the floor. He's going to play 14 minutes a night. He was playing, even with AD back, he was playing 16 to 18 with the Lakers.
I'm not saying that like he's going to be happy with his decision in Denver or like that he's happy with that as the destination.
Like, you were saying your implication was that like Ham's rotations were incorrect and that caused his displeasure. What, like, should he have been playing more than 16, 18 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. But like, I think when I'm talking about Ham in relation to Thomas Bryant, I think Ham put him in about as worse a spot as anybody on the roster where, he didn't spend any time next to AD, and I thought that made. I think he can.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
Yeah.
he's theoretically not on the team anymore. But
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But like the other thing, and I think this was a lot worse spot that he put Thomas Bryant in. But Bryant was also the quote unquote rim protector, to the point that we were making a second ago about his inability to protect the rim. He was seen as the rim protector in lineups with Troy Brown Jr. as the power forward.
sure, but
Like,
okay, but like,
like
who's the other option?
no,
Who was the
I'm
other
saying,
option at the time?
I'm saying that like if there was less reliance on all of the guards as they had over the course of the season, maybe you could have some extra size out there aside from Thomas Bryant that would make him look less useless in those lineups than he did.
Like
That's
whom?
well, all right. They got Rui, and I'm not sure I ever saw Rui and Thomas Bryant play together.
Okay, but that's the last,
They've had
whatever,
Troy
4 games or 6 games or whatever.
Well, they've had Troy Brown all season, and he was in and out of the rotation because
Yes,
we
fine,
kept seeing
but
Lonnie
fine,
Walker at small
fine,
forward. But I'm
fine,
just
but
you're
he's
asking
helping
for
out
whom?
with.
I'm
No,
answering your
But
question.
you're saying like to help him out with rim protection or make him not look like he's the only guy out there to protect the rim.
No,
Troy
I'm not
Brown's
saying that
protecting the rim.
No, I'm saying general length that might make it like one of the reasons you have all those guards out there is that they're quick enough to stay in front of people and not have as many straight line drives to the basket. And yet all of those lineups kept on producing straight line drives at Thomas Bryant. And that's like the worst spot that you could possibly put him in. So like, yeah, if the purpose of putting all those tiny little guards out there together is for that one defensive advantage potentially, and you're not getting that, then I would have rather had small or bigger players out there than those guys, so that maybe you have some size that helps with boxing out. It helps with passing lanes and keeping hands in passing lanes and stuff like that. Like that stuff makes a lot more sense than Austin Reeves at center at one point.
You are
this
digging
season.
deep in the crates to put this one even partially on Ham.
What?
You're digging deep in the crates to put this one on Ham.
I'm saying when I tweeted it, I said this is partially because of Ham's decisions and rotations. Like that, I said partially. I didn't say this was all because of Ham. I'm saying like I don't think Ham has done a very good job this year. The fact that they acquired D'Angelo Russel and people are thinking, oh shit, is how does he fit with Dennis Schroeder? Like that's an indication that Ham hasn't done a very good job in this regard. He has that blind spot. And I think that blind spot it put Thomas Bryant in a spot that he looked about as bad as he could possibly look defensively. Did that definitely lead to him demanding out? Probably not, especially if his demand is to play more, and now he's going to go back up somebody that he's going to play less behind. Sure, but I don't think Darvin Ham did him any justices while he was here as a Laker.
Okay, I'm just gonna put that a little bit more on TB, just being awful. Like what?
Yeah, I think awful is one way to describe some of Ham's coaching approaches. I think we can.
Okay. Okay.
All right. The other deal that we talked about briefly was Bamba. I don't know that I don't think he can play next to AD. I think that would look pretty clunky.
No. Anthony Davis is the center, period. And
yeah,
Anthony Davis is going to play center when he's out there, and he's going to be the only center when he's out there.
That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Though I will say though that like Mo Bamba and whichever wing doesn't start, right, whether it's Rui or Vanderbilt, that's a fascinating kind of pairing for a bench unit that's going to get up and down the court. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then, from there, like, the interesting thing
if you were wondering, the Lakers acquired D'Angelo Russel, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt.
Oh, did they?
Indeed.
Did they formally announce that? I'm still waiting for the personal email. So,
yes. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know about those guys?
We talked about them already. I think we did a pretty good job. I think despite not being able to.
D'Angelo Russell's going to start.
Terrence Ross is a buyout candidate, according to Michael Scotto.
The Lakers are gonna play slowly.
Either I or Aaron just paused. So
I think it is possible.
Okay.
I think it is possible Malik Beasley starts. Jared Vanderbilt, I don't think will start. I suspect that hold on, I have to take this call. It is about my surgery. In fact, my surgery tomorrow. Hold, please.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and wrap this thing up right there, honestly. We are waiting for more information as far as what the Lakers are going to be looking to do here next. Alexis, to answer your question, I don't believe D'Angelo Russel can play tonight because I don't know if he is in LA. The other part of it too is like he has to pass a physical and do all of that stuff, which might have already been done if they're announcing
D'Angelo
it
Russell will
formally.
not be available. D'Angelo Russell will not be available tonight.
Yeah, I don't think he could be. So like, yeah, it's going to be a shorthanded team. But I do kind of wonder,
none of the three of them will be available tonight.
Yeah,
I will tell you.
But
that.
the starting group, I quickly threw together a rotation here, as I see it to be. I have Russell, Beasley, Rui, LeBron, and AD starting.
I would agree. That would be my starting five also.
I have. I misspelled Schroeder's name. Sorry, Schroeder, for that on Twitter. But
did you put the extra E in?
No, I
forgot the C.
Forgot the H.
Oh,
I call him Scrooter.
Scooter, Scooter,
Scooter, which is okay. I think that's his porn name. But then I have Lonnie Reeves as kind of who is available coming off the bench at the 2 spot. Troy Brown Jr. maybe being like your small forward in that second group. Vanderbilt and Bamba rounding out the rotation of players who I think we'll see on a regular basis.
That's too many guys.
Outside looking in, I think Devon Reed is going to be like the 14th guy. Max Christie, I don't think we're going to see very much of here moving forward. And even though they said the purpose of trading for Wenyen the purpose of trading Thomas Bryant was to maybe get Wenyen more minutes, I think he's going to be a pretty small part of the rotation here moving forward. So of those guys that I listed in the initial rotation, I could see maybe Brown being being the 11th guy and there being 10 other guys that makes some sense. But beyond that, what do you think of the potential rotation there? And I think we lost Aaron again. All right. I am going to actually end it here and get us out of here as we embark on buyout season. Interesting stuff that Aaron said there about guys who might not be available tonight. So we got to keep our eye on other potential buyout candidates. Dennis Schroeder comes to mind. Troy Brown Jr. comes to mind. I guess like some of the two-way players can also be potentially bought out. So we'll see what that looks like. And we'll see who is on the roster here moving forward as the Lakers continue to add. They still need a small forward, in my opinion. So we'll see what everything looks like. So until we do see that, and until I talk to you guys next, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Aaron Larsoul, and we'll talk to you guys next time.